Good morning, Heart's Discernment. Okay, this morning has been a rush. I took a water aerobics class this morning. Well, just got home, but I already knew what we were talking about because today is an exciting day. Just gonna give it a minute. I posted that I was gonna be late because I thought I was going to be late, but I made it in time. Okay, I gave it a second. We're going to start here. Okay, here we go. So this morning I'm so excited, except for my whipped cream on my hot cocoa is already gone. It melted quick. I am so excited. The Lord spoke last night, and this was amazing. I love it when God does these like slap you in the face moments. It amazes me. He is so good. So I'm going to tell you real quick before we read the scripture. It's a very important story because it speaks volumes of what God does for us and what he says to us and how he works. And it's just beautiful and amazing. So this morning, I had this epiphany, like this dream, and it was just so beautiful. But here's the thing before I tell you my story. Once this happened to me this morning, I just went out and I let the dogs out, so I sat in the garage waiting for them, and I prayed for like 20 minutes and just talking to God and just in awe of the spanking I got in the most loving, gentle way. See, God is not a God of chaos. He does not create chaos and confusion. He doesn't do that. He shows you through compassion and love, and it's just amazing. And so I got done praying and I came back in the house and I told the dogs to go wake up dad because it was time for him to take his medicine, which I do every morning. My husband came downstairs and said, I had the most amazing dream last night. I said, really? He says, yeah. He said, God was speaking to me in tongues and I couldn't understand what was being said. And I was trying to figure out what he says, and I woke up. It woke me up, like him speaking in tongues, it woke me up. Well, I thought, okay, God's not a God of confusion or chaos. So why would he speak in tongues to you so that you couldn't understand? But that wasn't my first reaction. That was my afterthought. My first reaction was, you're kidding me. He said, no, why? I said, God woke me up talking to me last night. Come to find out, Matt's dream was about 3 o'clock and mine was about 4 o'clock. I said, maybe God was trying to tell you something and you couldn't understand him or whatever. So then he comes to me and wakes me up, tells me. But here's what it is. Okay, so I've told you moving back here was very scary for me because all my old friends, my old lifestyle, everything of old. I've said many times, probably not on here because I was ashamed of the way I felt, but I felt like I was so close to God in Missouri, and I felt like I moved here and God stayed in Missouri. I felt like I had to really work at being able to be comfortable with Christ. Well, when I woke up this morning from this dream, he was telling me, he said, Ginger, you keep reaching out to me. You keep asking me, how come I'm not here? You keep asking me, how come you're not as close to me? He said, I'm still carrying you. And of course, Dana's live from yesterday helped with this, I think. It was me doing the works in vain. You want to talk about getting a whooping. The Lord literally said, "You speak on not doing the works in vain, yet everything you've been doing since you got here in Michigan, in vain. You're so worried about doing what I told you to do when you went home. You're so worried about seeing the grandkids and doing this and fixing that. You're so worried about doing all this stuff and meeting the right people that all of your works have been in vain." He said, "Ginger, you are not the one that is supposed to be doing these things on your own. You were supposed to be listening to me and hearing me so I can tell you what you're supposed to be doing." That hurt worse than a whooping ever did because I've never, ever intended to do anything in vain. Yes, I want to work for the Father. Yes, I want to give him the glory. I want to do what he wants me to do. But I didn't realize how different it would look here than it did in Missouri. I can't worry about what needs to get done and where I need to go and who I need to see and all these things because I'm like trying to look around God to do the things that I think I'm supposed to be doing for him instead of just holding the hem of his garment and looking up at him and saying, "Lord, what would you have me do? It's going to look different here. I need to be content with what is going on. I need to be able to calm myself so I can hear your voice in what you would have me do." So when I told my husband about my dream, he says, "That's crazy that we'd both be woke up by God last night." And I said, "Well, maybe, in hindsight, even though I said, well, God's not a God of chaos, he wouldn't wake you up speaking to you in tongues if that's confusion. That wouldn't be of God." But thinking about it, maybe he's trying to tell Matt the same thing. Quit doing and start listening and be guided instead. The Lord is so good. I just love when he speaks to us. It's just so beautiful. And so I started praying, Lord, what scripture goes with this? Like, help me to find scripture that just completes this. And this is what he gave me. Psalms 25, 1 through 8. Psalms 25, 1 through 8. And it says, "To you, O Lord, I lift up my soul. O my God, I trust in you. Let me not be ashamed. Let not my enemies triumph over me. Indeed, let no one who waits on you be ashamed. Let those be ashamed who deal treacherously without cause." Mm. Show me your ways, O Lord. Teach me your paths. Lead me in your trust and teach me. For you are the God of my salvation. On you I wait all day. Remember, O Lord, your tender mercies and your loving kindness, for they are from old. Do not remember the sins of my youth, nor my transgressions. According to your mercy, remember me for your goodness' sake, O Lord. Good and upright is the Lord. Therefore, he teaches sinners in the way. It says, do not remember the sins of my youth, nor my transgressions. According to your mercies, remember me. Well, I guess our youth is anything behind us. So reading this, and it is a Psalms, so it is a song, Song of Psalms. It's a heartfelt song or prayer, and it's definitely something that I could be praying, because lead me to your truth and teach me, for you are the God of my salvation. On you I wait all day. My prayer is that I can get back to waiting all day. And now that I'm aware, Satan just slips on in there, took my fears and my concerns and turned it into slipping away from holding on to Christ and doing works in vain. And I don't want that. I want to wait all day on the Lord, wait for his guidance, his words. We're still reading the Bible every night, but that's not enough if we're not studying and learning and holding on to that and living it through the relationship with Christ. So that's really all I have for you today. I know it was only 10 minutes long, but it's really something to ponder. The works you've been doing, I know when Dana and I had taken a break, when I first moved here, we had taken a break and we had a month off of doing these lives. And since we came back, I have not felt like I've been doing what I'm supposed to be doing on here. I feel more like it's something I have to do. Please don't misunderstand. I love being here. I want to be doing this. But the passion that I had for this was gone. And it didn't start because we stopped for a month. It started before that, and that's why we stopped for the month. Now, why it took this long to realize, it's because I was leaving God in Missouri and doing the works that I was doing there and brought him here and was keeping busy instead of just taking a deep breath, relaxing, and waiting on what the Lord has for me here. Sometimes we think we're doing what's right until one day, like this morning, we open our eyes and realize this isn't what the Lord is having me do. Now, the Lord is having me do these lives, and I'm glad I was consistent with it, even through all the emotion or whatever you want to call it. But now that I know the work was in vain, I can start having those conversations with God again and asking, what would you have me do, Lord? So hopefully now we can get back to the strong, the intense learning on my days of doing the live videos. Not to say that people haven't gotten out of my videos, not to say they were fake, nothing like that. They weren't fake. They weren't, maybe they were good messages, maybe they weren't, but they were me learning and studying and diving into, rather than me saying, Lord, what would you have me talk about? Does that make sense? Take a good look at yourself today. See where you're at. Are your works because that's where you had been, that's where God had placed you, and so you're continuing? Or has God been trying to move you into a new status, if you will? And what you're doing is getting harder and harder to do because God's moving you and you're just dug into where you're at. That was me. Unclench those knuckles. Stop digging in. Let go and let God. Wow, it feels like 100 pounds have been lifted off my soul today. And now I'm going to get out there and wait for God to tell me what to do. And that is what it's going to be. It's a lot less pain, a lot less confusion, and a whole lot of less hassle when He's the pilot and you let go of the controls. Might be a little scarier, but it's all worth it. I love you all. I hope you have a blessed day. I can't wait to watch the rest of Dana's tomorrow. So come back with Dana. It was a very good lesson yesterday. I very much enjoyed that. Come back and watch that with me. I'll see you tomorrow with Dana. Love you. Bye-bye.